Hi, I'm AfroGamer94, and I want to start off by saying that I wish no harm to Boogie. I'm not trying to bash Boogie or anything like that. I want to give a perspective from somebody that was a subscriber to him and not just, any old YouTuber. So I want to start just by saying that and getting that out of the way real quick. I want to start by when I first subscribed to him, which is right around 2015, 2016. I started watching his content because I got into the franchise skits, to be honest. They were recommended. I watched a few. I liked it. I subscribed just for the franchise stuff. After a little while, I started to watch his other normal stuff like his Magic the Gathering, his life, Tim talking about his life. And that got me through those dark times around 2015, 2016. So, fast forward to 2019, 2020, when all the rumors started going around about, how bad of a person he was. He was making videos about it. And I initially didn't really pay attention to those rumors. In hindsight, I probably could have and should have realized something was going on, but I didn't. And I just, I don't want to say that I was blinded, but because he helped me in that dark time, I kind of want to believe that he was the person that he said he was. So I just kind of blocked it out, to be honest. And what really broke the camel's back, per se, is when I saw that documentary that he did. That was a big blow to my perception of him. Anyways, he was the way he was carrying himself in that documentary really shattered that image. I mean, acting kind of entitled, to be honest. Spending all this money on, escorts, hookers, whatever you want to call them. Basically saying that he was owed those. He was owed tens. Like, that's not, an image that I had. It was like I was watching a totally, completely different person. And another thing is, when they were trying to find him jobs and he was just basically taking the job person that was trying to get him a job as a joke. And that personally hit home for me because I work, from Monday to Thursday. I work overnights, 10 plus hours a day. So basically, the way he came off and just saying, like, oh, well, I need this and I don't need to, do a job. And I can just stay afloat with subscribers. That really turned him away, turned me away from him, to be honest. And just looking at his channel recently, he has almost 4 million subscribers still. And for somebody like me, they're just starting out, my first video, I would kill to have even a quarter of the amount of subscribers that he has. And for him to act all nonchalantly about it, like he was entitled, spending all this type of money, like the amount of money that he spent on these escorts or hookers, I could have been debt free. I could have bought a house or at least, put a down payment on a house, partially own the house. And that's where the disconnect is, he feels entitled because, he was successful in YouTube, but he doesn't see that how that would come off to just normal people like me. his subscribers. That comes off as just narcissistic, and he's just showing off, basically flexing, his wealth. I mean, there's a lot of us, that are subscribed, that watch for his content, not for you to just flex. And so that was the first dagger in the coffin, was watching that documentary and seeing, the other side that nobody really knew. And I started to connect the dots from the 2019, 2020s about how he was such a bad guy, a manipulator. And I I started to realize right then and there that maybe there's some truth to that. So after that, I was still subscribed to him, but I stopped watching his content. Um, his videos were stopped getting recommended to me, kind of fell to the wayside, and I honestly kind of forgot his channel existed up until the most recent stuff with the crypto scams, with his fatty coin. Um, so I watched a few videos on that. I've watched Charlie with his take on it. I've watched CoffeeZilla's whole video about it, and that's what reignited, my interest in this situation, because he went from the documentary to, doing this kind of stuff, and it's just not a good look. I didn't know about the cancer stuff, like the cancer allegations, or that he said he had cancer. Because again, I stopped watching him for like 2 or 3 years, so I didn't get that he made that video. And so I just went into the crypto like scam situation thinking like, okay, well, not only does he feel entitled, now he's just scamming his audience. And it's just it that was just essentially the second dagger in the coffin. It's just listening to different perspectives, especially CoffeeZilla, who personally gave him an interview about it. Just the way that he talked and tried to get out of the situation and lie about it. They were blatant. They were completely blatant lies. Um. So yeah, and I just waited, a week, 2 weeks after that, and then the whole situation with the podcast with Destiny, trying to see if he had this type of cancer. And this was initially the spot where I kind of looked into him having cancer, because I didn't know that he announced he had cancer. So apparently, for the 2 years that I was gone, he announced he had cancer and was farming sympathy from it. And so that whole podcast has just been, it was another eye opener for me. I couldn't, and after that, I couldn't bear to keep being a subscriber to that, because I wouldn't condone that as just a normal person. But being, a successful YouTuber with almost 4 million subscribers, that even makes it even more egregious, because even the people that, still stuck with him through the thick and thin, he scammed them and he lied to them for over 2 years. So that brings us to a couple days ago with the other podcasts, and Boogie basically admitting that he lied or didn't know the facts per se. And I just think that's so egregious. That's that's not a good look anybody wants. I personally had a sister that died from cancer. It wasn't a blood cancer. It wasn't, one of the good cancers that he says is what he has. She died when she was very young, so that also, struck a chord with me because cancer is not a joke. It really isn't. And a lot of the times when you think it's gone, it comes back, just like with my sister. And it's, I just think it's pretty unforgivable that you would lie or tell your audience that you have this sort of cancer when you don't, or at least don't know that you have this cancer. I mean, not knowing, saying that you didn't know for 100% certainty that you had this cancer doesn't make it any more inexcusable. It doesn't. And what Boogie doesn't realize is that people like me that are subscribed to him that either have gone through it themselves or have family members that have cancer, if hearing about this, you're not gaining any sympathy from that. You're really not. And I don't know what's going in his head. He really needs to see like a top class psychiatrist or something to figure out what is going on in his head, because it's not normal. People don't always lie about cancer. I wouldn't wish cancer on my worst enemy, even if it was the quote unquote the best cancer or the kiddie form of cancer that he was talking about on the local podcast. And it's unredeemable. I can't stay subscribed to a person that is okay with that or will put themselves in a situation where they are blatantly lying to their audience and on top of that scamming them. So I've been taking a few days to process, all that. And I'm trying to, I don't want to say come up with a solution because I don't want him to have a cop out, and a good suggestion that I heard on one of the other podcasts, which is the official podcast. One of the people on the podcast, they were saying like basically like, hey, Boogie complains that he doesn't have any money or anything like that. Just make more videos. I think that was a point that Charlie made, if I'm not mistaken. Like most of the videos, he was saying they were averaging 20,000 views. I mean, I would kill to have this video, go up to 20,000 views. You know what I'm saying? But he has hundreds of videos. And Charlie was saying basically, like, look, if you just uploaded more content, even if you have 2,000 views or 20,000 views, my mistake, per video, you can make a hell of a living, live hella comfy with just that amount of views. But as somebody else brought up in the same podcast, Boogie just doesn't seem like he wants to do it. And that was also apparent doubling back into the documentary when they were trying to get him a job. And he basically was taking it as a joke. I don't need a job. Well, don't complain that you don't have any money if A, you don't want to get a job, or B, you don't want to make more videos to make more money. I mean, I believe Boogie's last video was 12 days ago. He used to upload 3 times a week. What is the change? If he just went back to the sort of the same content that drew me in, with the Francis skits, the life talks that he used to have, the Magic the Gathering videos, he would be able to keep a stable income. Now, I don't know how much 20,000 views get you an ad revenue from each video, but I'm kind of inclined to believe Charlie. I mean, he's also a very successful YouTuber. So if he's saying that you can live pretty comfortably with an average of 20,000 views per video, I'm inclined to believe him. So we've come to this dilemma where Boogie complains that he has some money, so he's scamming his audience. And we also come to the impasse where he doesn't want to get a job. So there's a huge disconnect. Does he want people just giving him free money? Because that's what it seemed like. He took the $5,000 from the crypto guys that wanted him to scam his audience. But you can't make money doing that. It's not, it's just dirty money. Takes scamming your audience. Now, as a normal person like me, this is my very first video. Well, at least in this format. If I was in Boogie's situation, I would be happy. My bills would be paid. I would have no debt. I'd be working on getting into a house. Buying and owning a home. That's the American dream. He was able to do that. But I think he just got complacent and he developed this narcissistic entitlement. Now, it could have been part of his personality the entire time, but he did a hell of a job not showing it up until, a few years ago. So, my goal, going forward is, of course, this is my first video in this type of format. I want to do more videos like this. And I kind of want to, do the type of videos that initially attracted me to Boogie, the gaming news. That was my favorite kind of content from him, was the gaming news. And I kind of want to prove to him that this kind of content can work, can make you money. And that's what I hope to get out of the channel and out of these videos. I don't expect to blow up. But if I can work hard at it and get the type of audience that likes this content and were like me back in the day, in 2015, 2016, if I can help some people like that I would give up the world for that. And with people like Boogie that take all this wealth and popularity for granted, it's people like us that just got left in the dirt. Because now we find out that he's this type of person, and the person that we've been following and championing for have been a complete facade. And it's very disappointing. I'm not at all angry. I'm not one of those keyboard warriors that, oh, Boogie's a piece of shit. No. I'm more disappointed in Boogie. And I just want him to know that he's got to change. I mean, he still has almost 4 million subscribers. if he really wanted to, he could come back, but it would involve a lot of work. Probably more work than what I would have to do to gain an initial audience. Because now he has to prove to everybody that he's just not a big piece of shit. And he's going to have to start from square one. He's going to have to, I would say, atone for his sins. And I would start by giving those people that he scammed with his crypto coin their money's back. He says he doesn't have the money now. But what I would do is were Boogie, I would go back to the drawing board. Go back to your old content. Make the content you were making that made you big. But first, you got to atone and apologize to the world. And I'm not sure he's capable of that. At least truthfully. He can put on the facade and say he's sorry. He apologizes and he won't ever do it again. But it needs to come from the heart. He can't half-ass it. I think that if he did that, he came from his heart, he apologized, and he actually wanted to do better, I think he would eventually build a core audience. Maybe not the same audience he had. I'm not saying people like me would resubscribe to him. But if he just did something good for once, he would be able to build a newer audience. He might not be as successful either. I can't guarantee that either. But he still has, again, I want to reiterate, he still has over almost 4 million subscribers. And that's nothing to sniff at. And if he can make videos again, he should be fine. And then what I would do is I would save that money. And then eventually, I would pay back all those people that I scammed. If I were Boogie. That would gain a lot of goodwill with people. Because a lot of the scammers, like Jake Paul, they say they're going to pay people back, haven't paid a dime. But if he were to actually do it and pay back the people he scammed, not saying that's going to absolve all of his sins, but that'd give him some brownie points possibly. Just saying. So, I just want to end this video by saying, again, I'm not trying to attack him. I don't wish any harm to him. I have no ill will. I'm just more disappointed. And I wanted to bring back the sort of content that he initially brought me into the fold with. And that's the gaming news, the gaming content. I can't do Francis skits, unfortunately. But I want that kind of wholesome vibe. And I'm not the guy that has that sort of facade on him. I'm just a normal guy. I work overnights. I'm worked to the bone. So I'm going to try to work hard in the meantime to upload more videos. Hopefully I can get a bigger following. But I want to prove, especially the Boogie, that if you're just put in the work, you can make a difference. You can make a living. Instead of just complaining about how much money you don't have. So that's about it. If you like this type of content, if you like hearing this discussion, I can do more content like this. If you have any suggestions of any topics you want me to talk about, go ahead and just leave it in the comments. And if you could subscribe as a new YouTuber, I would greatly appreciate it. But just to let you know, just having people watch this video would just be good enough for me. So, until next time, I'm Afro Gamer 94, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.